Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Yeah, tonight what I'm going to do is talk about 10 authors that I have not yet read and I really want to explore their work in 2025. Stay tuned. Okay everyone, so at the end of 2024 I released a video that where I talked about my 10 favorite new to me authors, and so I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to talk about authors that have been talked about on Booktube many times. Some of them have been raved about, and I just want to talk about them because some of their books I want to read this year. And I've decided to rank the authors in terms of the least desirable to the most desirable. It's kind of a strange ranking, I know, but yeah, let's get on with it. First of all, just an honourable mention that might be very high on my list if I could find a physical copy, because that is Brom, and he's an artist, and basically all his books, as far as I know, are illustrated. And so I don't see any point in getting him on my Kindle, and if I do find a book by him, it'll be very high on my list. And one that stands out for me is, let's just see here, Lost Gods. I love the premise, which is a young man descends into purgatory, hell, to save his wife and unborn child. And yeah, I can just imagine the illustrations and the story, very high ratings on Goodreads. So I would love to read a book by Brom. And there's another one, Krampus, something. And yeah, sounds like a great Christmas read. And here's my girl wants to play a game. Hello my baby girl. Okay, in 10th position I've got Eric LaRocca. And I've been avoiding this work for a reason. It seems very weird, very dark, very disturbing and very bloody, as you're going to see by the covers, but it just seems like it doesn't fit with me. Maybe I need to tell you, you need to tell me in the comments down below if this is the case. The first one is You've Lost a Lot of Blood, and I mean you just have to look at this cover. And I think I have this one on my Kindle. And the other one is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. Both covers are very bloody, and I just think that some of the tropes, some of the, what do you call it, the themes, the stuff that happens in these books might not gel with me, but you need to let me know if I'll enjoy them, because they do sound pretty damn disturbing. So that is Eric LaRocca in 10th position. Okay, number 9 is Rachel Harrison. I know this author's got very mixed reviews, and yeah, the one I want to talk about is a werewolf novel, and it's called Such Sharp Teeth, and it says on Goodreads, this darkly comedic love story is a brilliantly layered portrait of trauma, rage and vulnerability. Now the thing that worries me here is a love story, and I've seen reviews that not as much of a horror as it ought to be with a werewolf. So yeah, I'm not sure if I would like this kind of story. And the other one is called Cackle, but it also sounds like more like a cozy fantasy, so a little bit of horror elements, like witchy elements. And I don't know if that'll fit with me. Maybe if I'm in the mood, let me know. After all, I don't mind reading other stuff out of my comfort zone, but this doesn't really sound like horror. Maybe it is, let me know. And at number 8 we got author that so many people rave about time and time again, and that's Grady Hendricks. Now the thing is that most of his books sound like kind of horror light to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's almost like comedic horror. There's something completely different. Maybe I'll really enjoy it. It's got such rave reviews all over the place. And the one book that stands out for me is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I love this. It says on Goodread, fried green tomatoes and steel magnolias meets Dracula. In the southern flavoured supernatural thriller about a women's book club that must protect its community from a mysterious stranger who turns out to be a blood-sucking fiend. Now, yeah, it sounds actually like a lot of fun. I don't know why I haven't picked this author up. Well, because I don't get physical books here of these authors, so I might have to read him on Kindle. But yeah, and another book as well that's mentioned. One that I really want to read, and I know I've been wanting to read for a long time. It's more like non-fiction, and it's called Paperbacks from Hell, and it's a twisted history of the 70s and 80s horror fiction. I desperately want to get my hands on that. But yeah, it's Grady Hendricks. Okay, next up we got Christopher Buman, I think it is. And he wrote, and I've explored his writing in terms of Goodreads and what he's written, and also on Booktube. And he's written a vampire novel and a werewolf novel that I'm very intrigued by, and that I've heard people rave about on Booktube. And the first one is A Lesser Dead. And it says, "The secret is vampires are real, and I am one. The secret is I am stealing from you what is most truly yours, and I'm not sorry." Now, what I get a feeling for about this book, or I'm kind of attracted to read it, is because these vampires sound like they're nasty and they're dirty. And that's how it should be. You know, I don't like my vampires clean and sparkly, so it sounds like my kind of novel. And it's got good ratings on Goodreads, as well as the next book, which is Across the River. Also those Across the River. And yeah, it sounds like a werewolf novel that might interest me. So yeah, that is Christopher Buman. Okay, next up we got Josh Manaman, number 6. Now the obvious thing here is Bird Box. I know it was made into a movie, and I actually haven't seen the movie. I don't watch as many movies these days, so I'm sorry. But yeah, the premise sounds very interesting, and that is something is out there, something terrifying that must not be seen. One glimpse of it and a person is driven to deadly violence. Excuse me. No one knows what it is or where it came from. So yeah, it sounds like really thrilling. I'll probably really enjoy it. But the main reason I put this author on the list is because I heard about a Booktuber, and I'm sorry I haven't mentioned any names because I can't remember. But I heard about a Booktuber absolutely rave about how good this book is. And this is not one of his better known ones, but it's School in the Cape. And yeah, it sounds very weird. I haven't actually written down a thing for it. It sounds like kind of almost like a fantasy horror hybrid, and it just sounds very strange. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out. I wish I'd actually written something down about it, but I haven't. But yeah, so that is Josh Manaman. Okay, now we're into the top 5. And in 5th position, and I've been craving me some mermaid horror for some reason, kind of deep sea mermaid horror. And this is Myra Grant, or is it Myra Grant, Into the Drowning Deep. And yeah, I'm going to read this because it sounds really, really interesting. And I'm interested in killer mermaids and the deep and the mysteries of the deep. And so it says, once again, I take off my glasses, I should just keep them off. 7 years ago, the Atargatis, the ship, set off on a voyage to the Marina Trench to film a mockumentary bringing to life ancient sea creatures of legend. It was lost at sea with all hands. So basically, all hands died. I don't know. Some have called it a hoax, others have called it a maritime tragedy. Now a new crew has been assembled, but this time they're not out to entertain. Some seek to validate their life's work. Some seek the greatest hunt of all. Some seek the truth. Blah blah blah. But whatever the truth may be, it will only be found below the waves. But the secrets of the deep come with a price. Yeah, I'm hoping for some nasty mermaid creatures. kind of, shed off skin and rip off flesh, and yeah, with their tail. I don't know, but it sounds really intriguing. I haven't read a mermaid horror before, so yeah, it'll be fun. And then there's another one called Feed. Now, I love my zombies, and apparently this is a really good zombie tale. And in fact, both these stories are part of a trilogy, part of a collection. And yeah, it's called Feed. And the year was 2014. We had cured cancer. We had beaten the common cold. No, I'm full of antibiotics right now, so I'm okay. But in doing so, we created something new, something terrible that no one could stop. The infection spread, I love my zombies, so I'm looking forward to that. So I definitely want to read Myra Grant. How do you pronounce it, people? Myra? Definitely want to read her in 2025. Layla's back. Okay, the next author in fourth position is Nia Albor. Now, the one book that made me put it so high up on my list is Brother. Let's look at that awesome cover. Now, yeah, I have this on my Kindle, and I'm desperate to read it, because, as you know, I like kind of cannibal redneck families. And this seems to be a very interesting story, but definitely not in the line of like your typical cannibal story. I think this is something different, a little bit more profound. But let me just read this to you quickly. Brother follows a teenager determined to break from his family's unconventional and deeply disturbing traditions. So yeah, this family lives in the outback somewhere. Excuse me. And they have a family tradition of, well, I suppose it's killing, I'm not sure, eating, but yeah, whatever. And this one brother decides he's no longer interested in that. He wants to break from the family. And I think he meets this girl, and yeah, I think the other brother, Layla, settled girl. And the other brother kind of, yeah, has other plans for him. I don't know. I just love the idea of the story. So that's why she's so high up on my list. But I also want to read Seed, The Devil Crept In, and The Shuddering. That will sound very interesting. So that's Nia Albor. Okay, in third position we have Tanana Araujo. And she is on this list only because of one particular book that I'm desperate to read very soon. And that is called The Reformatory. Now I know that she's probably written, actually I checked on Goodreads, she's written a whole lot of other really good books. But I have to read The Reformatory. I've heard it raved about by so many booktubers. It's a book of the year. And yeah, it just sounds absolutely phenomenal. A gripping page-turning novel set in Jim Crow, Florida, that follows Robert Stevens Jr. as he's sent to a segregated reform school that is a chamber of terrors, where he sees the horrors of racism and injustice for the living and the dead. Yeah, I've heard so many amazing things about the story, and you know, if I love it, I'm going to start reading her other work as well. Yeah, so that's Tanana Araujo. Okay, in second position we have Nat Cassidy, and once again, it's because of one book that I've heard absolutely raved about, but there's another book as well. But first let's get to Mary. Now, yeah, I love the cover, and this is what it's about. Mary is a quiet, middle-aged woman, doing her best to blend into the background, unremarkable, invisible, unknown even to herself. But lately, things have been changing inside Mary. Along with the hot flashes and body aches, she can't look in a mirror without passing out. And the voices in her head have been urging her to do some unspeakable things. Fired from her job, she moves back to her hometown, hoping to reconnect with her past and inner self. Instead, visions of terrifying, mutilated spectres overwhelm her with increasing regularity, and she begins auto-writing strange thoughts and phrases. Mary discovers that these experiences are echoes of an infamous serial killer. Then the killings begin again. Mary's definitely going to find herself. That's on Goodreads. So if Goodreads has spoiled the whole book, I have no idea. But that intrigues the hell out of me. I think it sounds freaking fun and phenomenal. Apparently a lot of other people do too. And there's another book by her as well called Nestlings, which sounds like a very, very weird kind of a story. And it's about basically disturbing events, babies and bite marks on the mother's belly. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but yeah, I definitely want to discover this author, starting with Mary. And finally, the author that I want to read the most, to me, the new author, that is Paul Tremblay, and that is because of one book, and it might be a surprise to you, but it's Cabin at the End of the World. Yeah, I'm a big fan of apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic horror, and this seems perfect, and also very, very original and unique and interesting. And I'm going to read the blurb again. Done a lot of reading today, folks, but yeah. 7-year-old Wen and her parents, Eric and Andrew, are vacationing at a remote cabin on a quiet New Hampshire lake. Their closest friends are more than 2 miles in either direction along a rutted dirt road. One afternoon, a stranger unexpectedly appears in the driveway. Leonard, is the largest man Wen has ever seen, but he is young, friendly, and he wins her over almost instantly. They talk and play until Leonard abruptly apologizes and says, "None of what's going to happen is your fault." 3 more strangers then arrive at the cabin, carrying unidentifiable, menacing objects. As Wen sprints inside to warn her parents, Leonard calls out, "Your dad won't want to let us in, Wen, but they have to. We need your help to save the world." So yeah, it sounds very interesting. I've heard incredible stuff about this book, but I know that Paul Tremblay has had mixed reviews as well. But yeah, this, out of everything I've read to you, everything I've said to you for this video, this sounds the most interesting and the most original kind of premise to a story. And there's another story that's perhaps even more popular called A Head Full of Ghosts, and I want to read that as well. And I'm going to say the first booktuber really convinced me that this is a book I should read is Michael Wurtenberg, because he loves this book, even though he doesn't love possession horror. And that's not my favorite trope as well, but I heard that this book is just mind-blowing. So we'll have to see. But I'm definitely going to start at The Cabin at the End of the World. Yeah, and that's my number 1, Paul Tremblay. Okay everyone, so that's my list for today, for tonight. Let me know what you think down below. Have you read from any of these authors? What would you suggest I start with? What are some of your favorite authors that I should read this year? I'd love to hear from you in the space in the comments down below. As you can see, I'm feeling a little bit better. Yeah, I've pumped myself full of pills, and yeah, I've still just got to get blood tests. I'm not going to do it straight away, which I'm kind of scared about, but hey, when you get older, that's what happens. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, keep those pages turning, and cheers.